All right, everyone, we should be live. Let's make sure that's actually the case over on Rumble. Of course, I do see people waiting and chat is moving, so that's my assumption. Just saying. Looking at my bromeliads over there, they're finally blossoming again. I'm very, very happy about that, by the way. Very proud. I've kept that particular clonal lineage going since I was in 7th grade, actually. So, yeah, it's the one that survived. Some of the others got a little bit more fucked up. What do fuck? Tarl, I apologize for hosing up your viewer demographics. I'm pushing 64 years old. Yeah, I was joking earlier when I talked about Gen Z and said, like, I'm 36, so I'm like, I'm an old man. I was just comparing myself to the college kids out there. I'm allowed at this point. I'm just old enough so that I can claim to be an old fogey, Old and stale. And when I sit down, I got to make sure that I don't sit on my balls. Yeah, and all those other fun jokes. Self-deprecation is great. Yeah, so today is a good day. Also, we had a little mild winter storm. By Vermont standards, a couple of inches is basically nothing. The roads are clear, so unless there's a foot of snow in the roads and the plows are going out at 2 a.m., it's not really a winter storm by our standards. Just tell us. We love the Hex and Hammers in Lincolnton, North Carolina. Yes, I still, I really loved that Confederate $20 bill, by the way. That was incredible. Still haven't eaten those humanitarian rations. I opened one up, though. It has some sort of lentil stew in it. I am very, very excited at looking at how that tastes. Wonder if it's like the lentil soup that you get in like the Progresso cans, only probably less liquidy. I'm assuming that's probably what it is. Yeah, we got more than a dusting, but it's not really a storm. Not by our standards. Give me 6 inches or more, and then we can at least talk. Give me 2 feet, which we have literally gotten during storms before. Then you mean business. God, I've got some crazy stories about winter weather from this state. By the way, I talked this morning about that dude in Weston, Vermont, actually. Who erected the giant middle finger. Yeah, you should see that one. That was great fun to cover. I'd love to go up and see it. I mean, it's not that far because Vermont's a small state. But I generally don't get up to the Burlington region very much unless I have to fly because, Burlington Airport, it's the only one around here that actually has any service. Clem Semple, super straight sticks want 6 inches. It's 6.66, actually almost on the mark. So that's pretty funny. Yeah, no, I am super straight. Let's get to the news anyway. Otherwise I'm just going to end up ranting and banting the entire time. United Healthcare CEO assassin believed to have left a message at the scene on bullet casings, according to a report. Apparently, the words deny, depose, and defend were written on the live rounds that were left behind. I have a feeling that those were deliberately left behind. I do think that this was a professional hit. And by the way, the quartering owes me another V8. He has to drink an extra one on the next live stream because he was wrong. He suspected that the gunman in this case would be remanded into custody same day. Well, it's the next day. He's still at large. So you have to slurp down an extra V8 next time we go live. That is my official verdict on the quartering. You were wrong. You must drink the V8. Not that you won't enjoy it. V8 is the fruit of the gods. Bitcoin has hit $100,000 a piece, which means that I did miss out on a considerable amount of money, but at the time I needed it. I still do hold Bitcoin. I'm not sure exactly how much I have at the moment. Let me fact check that when I get to that story. Daniel Penny trial is moving forward. Some people are speculating there may be a hung jury. I speculate that the debate is more over whether to exonerate him or hold him as guilty on the lesser included charge. So you find him innocent of manslaughter, but the reckless endangerment, which it's a fining offense, maybe a little bit of jail time, you find him guilty on that. I have a feeling that's what the debate's over. We'll see what happens, though. I mean, we might get live breaking news actually during the live stream, in which case I'll have to cut away a little bit early to do a breaking video. The Syrian army has withdrawn from Hama. as the Islamo-fascists continue to try to oust Assad. I don't think they'll be successful, but it's definitely, I mean, it's an insurgency. We would call it that if it was in the Western Hemisphere, that's for sure. Tax cuts are on the menu for the first 100 days of the Trump administration, which I am exceptionally thankful for. I get hammered because I pay a self-employment tax. I don't have a D Corp or any of these things. So the government thinks that I owe them 15% of my income up front before anything else is even considered. Donald Trump thinks that I should owe considerably less than that. And so there's an offset for the first 100,000 in income. And so it's been really, really helpful. God, I mean, I can't even imagine how much money it is so far. But thank you, Donald. Please do extend your tax cuts. And while Voyager 1 has managed to be rebooted, it looks like, unfortunately, one of our first deep space satellites is dying at this time. Leave it to 70s technology, though. God, it lasted a long fucking time. I'll do that. Yeah, the quartering has to eat a candy corn sandwich. No, I'm not going to make him do that. I don't believe in torturing the person who's helping me with hosting his show. I like the quartering. He's a cool dude. He just needs to eat more fucking vegetables. That's all he's got to do. Also, for some reason, my crypto wallet doesn't appear to be opening. Just a sec. No. Well, I guess I can't do that on live. Sometimes it has problems, I've noticed. I mean, it's easy to restore it and stuff, as long as you keep your backup codes and shit like that. But yeah. Read the news on the CEO. I want to delve into it. We will in a moment. Yeah, do you remember that story when Bitcoin was like basically worthless? There was that one dude who paid like, I don't know, what was it, 2 million Bitcoins for a pizza or something? Oh boy. Can you imagine what that would be fucking worth? Yeah, I'm the richest man in the world because I was the one person derpy enough to think that Bitcoin was a good idea when it was worth a fraction of a cent. I had the capability of buying into Bitcoin way back when it was like a penny a piece or something like that. And I chose not to do that because I was a dumb college kid at the time. And I could have made tens of millions of dollars on the transaction. But I don't beat myself up over it because I was a dumb college kid. So as soon as it hit like $1 a piece, I probably would have offloaded it. And then I would have bought a bunch of pizzas. If I knew then what I knew now comes to mind. Anyways, let's see. Got some chats, man. Ringo the First. Hello, my name is Tarl, and I love candy corn. Oh, God. I did puke after eating that sandwich, by the way. There was a reason I could only get through a couple of bites of it. It's a sad situation. Wolf, hey, Sticks, I've been trying to contact you on X. I want to send you a small thanks for keeping all of us white-pilled. Again, you'll have to bump it to the top and identify yourself specifically as Wolf. And I'll try to get to it, but again, it becomes very difficult because I get so many fucking messages. Yeah, as far as Bitcoin goes, you know, there are some people that literally bought millions of them when they were worth a fraction of a cent. And then they lost them and they are unrecoverable. This is why Bitcoin, by the way, can only increase in value. People try to store it and then it gets lost. There's a declining amount of Bitcoins available to even be mined. There's only a certain amount of them that can ever exist. And so it's automatically deflationary. That's why I'm glad that I still hold Bitcoin. By the way, you can always donate Bitcoin to me, link in the description, should you choose to do so. And probably nobody's going to take me up on the offer, considering how much it's worth now, but, you know, you can always beg and plead. El Hazelra, I could have gotten paid in Bitcoin when it was around 20K, and I said no. Yeah, exactly. Hindsight is always 20/20. Should I have bought into Bitcoin when it was about a penny a piece and bought like $100 worth of it and held it until now? Yeah, I should have done that. But, you know, again, hindsight is 20/20. I still do have some. I just don't know exactly how much because sometimes Exodus doesn't want to open, and so whatever. Anyways, we'll get to the news. United Healthcare CEO assassin believed to have left a message at the scene on bullet casings, according to the report. This means that it was deliberate, and it was probably personal vendetta related. I'm thinking this person may have been a hitman, but been personally disgruntled. Maybe he got hired by the CEO. Here's a conspiracy theory. Imagine the CEO hires a hitman to go after someone and then refuses to pay the hitman. So the hitman says, fuck you, and kills them or something like that. The personal effects don't appear to have been touched, so it wasn't like a random robbery or something like that. This was definitely not random. That much we know. If you leave behind live bullets at the scene and they've got little messages on them, that's presumptively deliberate. I think that that's probably a fair estimation, unless you're just trying to throw somebody off, which wouldn't make sense under the circumstances. And so this was definitely a hit job of some sort or another. I was correct, though. The person is not in custody yet, still at large. Probably has already gone to another country or at least another state. I mean, if you were going to organize something like this, you'd have the hitman, do the hit, and then they escape on bike a few blocks, they get into a car, and then they just fucking go. You can have a series of safe houses or something like that. It could be part of a criminal network. It could be someone who's simply disgruntled, was denied health insurance, they had some sort of problem with the company, somebody who just went insane. All of these are possibilities, but I have a feeling that it was a professional hit. I think the quartering is right about that part. He just wasn't right about them being remanded into custody, and therefore must pay the punishment, an extra V8. Yeah, Roadrunner. No robber is carrying a damn suppressor. Exactly. This looks exactly like this is some sort of paid operation on one level or another. We're just not exactly 100% sure what the motive was. Frylock, by the way, good show. We're 5 years in and some people keep taking Fauci products. I'm sorry, but if you can't let go of a cold after all this time, you deserve 4 more years of Joe and Kamala. It's 100% over. Get over it. Agreed. Yeah, I mean, we have absolutely no clue why he was killed. I think Jeremy believes it was probably wife related, like she just wanted to off him. I personally think that it's more likely this was some sort of personal vendetta by somebody who was maybe connected to the healthcare company or something like that. Maybe somebody got laid off and they decided to go full Fight Club mode, something like that. Or it could be a Fed. It's always possible it was a federal agent of some sort, which would also explain if they don't get caught, Yeah, deep state hitman, infidelity, crime of passion. We're not 100% sure. This person was either very, very good or very, very sloppy. That's what I personally believe. Lemon curd. Stinks. Glad to see chest hair is back on the menu. I mean, you could nibble on it if you wanted to. I don't know why you'd want to. Some people apparently are into that sort of thing. Very strange. Bitcoin has hit $100,000. Again, I would tell you exactly how much I've gotten Bitcoin, but I can't open my Exodus wallet at the moment because sometimes their program sort of craps out. And you have to either restore it or you have to restart your computer or something like that and become a real big problem. The Trump era, I think, definitely has something to do with this. Right now, you've got a fairly adversarial administration with regards to crypto and things like that. Biden has talked about attacking gig work. He's talked about trying to tax everything under the sun that's self-employed. He wants the tax cuts that Trump passed, for example, to lapse. And definitely adversarial towards crypto. The funny part is, like, the AI czar chosen by the administration was Kamala Harris. AI tying in, of course, with crypto and modern technology in general. I think that crypto and AI are going to be hugely transformative. It behooves the United States to get on board and get ahead of it. And instead, you've got an administration run by a vegetable who delegates authority to a bunch of bureaucrats that don't apparently know what they're fucking doing. The Trump administration with Ramaswamy, Elon Musk, many others associated, Tulsi Gabbard, appears to be much more friendly towards it. So it doesn't surprise me that it's rising at a fast rate. I'm glad that I still have some Bitcoin left over after the last transaction. I think I'll hold until it's worth $1 million a piece. I think that I'm going to do the diamond hands thing, because then, I can mop up some decent 5-figure sum, or 6. I'm not 100% sure, because again, I can't open my wallet at the moment. And that'll be fun. That would be nice. Hey, here's a down payment on a home, simply because I decided to hold a bunch of Bitcoin. That would be nice. Cryptocurrency has climbed more than 40% since U.S. election on bets president-elect will bring in pro-crypto regulation. I don't believe in really regulating it. I'd say let the market go wild and just assure people you're not going to do anything to it. The market will take care of itself. But yeah, I mean, if assuming that it is useful and assuming that it is understood to be an asset and or currency, it can't help but be deflationary because of the declining sort of return that you get from mining it, the limited amount, and some of it ends up in literally a landfill. There was like one story, somebody lost like, what was it? And this was at the time, this is long ago. I can't imagine what it's worth now. It was like $100 million worth of Bitcoin on a USB drive, but then they didn't have the code, so they couldn't actually open the USB drive. That must really fucking suck. Just saying. That would be regrettable. So I think with the new FCC director, that's censorship related, the new EPA director, which is Zeldin, and so on and so on forth, I think you have an administration that's going to be very transformative. If anything, I think that the Trump administration is going to be more meaningful than any other administration, at least since the mid-atomic era, so to speak. It's going to crush neoliberalism's skull like the skull of a pig, in other words, which I think is a good thing, by the way. Copium poppies. No matter what happens with Daniel Penny, he'll be set for life financially, or sued into oblivion, by the way, in a civil case. He could go on podcasts and do book tours and become an influencer. Finding a job shouldn't be difficult if he stays out of blue areas, as most view him as a hero. Yeah, but he has to brand himself. We haven't always seen that happen with people that go through such cases. Not just a string. Happy 100K Bitcoin. Get it while it's there, and welcome to the start of the bull run. Trump and his proposed strategic Bitcoin reserve get some credit. Fix the money, fix the world. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, 100K. And there were a lot of people who thought it would just die off. They thought that it was going to go to zero effectively and it would just be a meme. Who's laughing now? I don't think that it's the anti-crypto nerds. Lemon Curd. Hey, Sticks, what do you think of DeSantis as Secretary of Defense? Acceptable. Perfectly fine. What do fuck? There was a very funny clip from the HBO Silicon Valley where Mark Cuban character lost his crypto thumb drive in a landfill. One of his workers finds the thumb drive. Oh, that's a real thumb. Lol. Yeah, no, there were actually people that had huge amounts of Bitcoin and it starts going up above like, 10K or something, but then they couldn't access the drives or they lost them or they figured they were worthless and just, they tossed them in the trash because it's like, okay, I got like 10 cents on this thumb drive. And I'm just going to throw it out. Whoops. That was a good idea. I'm assuming that some of these people literally killed themselves over these things. I myself have no regrets. Should I have bought in? Yeah, of course. Looking at the prices, it would have been hilarious. I mean, I could buy a mansion right now. But I never would have actually held it long enough to do that anyway because I was dumb. It would have hit $10, maybe $100, offload it. You get an infusion. There's nothing wrong with that. Maybe you buy a car or something, but that's probably the limitation of how long I would have waited to sell. The landfill Bitcoin is worth 500 million now, I think. Oh, as far as the lost Bitcoin, I think it's way more than 500 million. It's probably in the tens of billions of dollars range or something like that. It might be more than that. Let's get to our sponsors before we get to more news, by the way. We have cultivated-mind.com, where you can get mushroom pills of various kinds. Take one every single morning. A little bit lower on those. I gave some to a friend, actually, some time ago. So I got to mind my supply, man. Got to take those mushrooms, man. It's some good stuff. Anecdotally, and disclaimer, of course, this is not medical advice. Anecdotally, it seems to boost my energy and be both neuro and biologically regenerative. We have pumpkinfirecrafts.us, where you can get bookmarks, which are important for the bibliophile in your life, which should be me. Keychains, belt chains, engraved spoons with the Ouroboros logo. We've got glassware. We've got it pretty much all. We've got BiltongUSA.com, where Anton can hook you up with some of the tastiest meat you will ever eat. Yes, indeed, especially the carbonasi or the bison. The bison shredded up and put in soup is pretty damn good. We've got Stick, Sex, and Hammer mugs and tumblers and shirts available there, by the way, as well. WickedNeedleEmbroidery.BigCartel.com, where you can get Stick, Sex, and Hammer hats. Several colors, several varieties available, and everyone should have one. You got to be, flashing your logo. You got to be showing that you're a true clanker. HeritageHeirloomSeedCompany.com, where you can get a seed survival bucket and grow these bad boys, which are, they look deformed. They taste better than they look. Let's put it that way. Good for decoration, too, by the way. Squash isn't hard to grow. You can also get Stick, Sex, and Hammer soap, actually, available there now. We've got websterswares.com/sticks-wares. By the way, I believe it's code STICKS on there. I think it's STICKS 30, and you get they've got a Black Friday sale going on. You can get some leftover Trump merch. Of course, that's going to be historical in nature. Put it in a museum someday or something like that. Also, there's plenty of Sticks merch available. We got metal straws to save the turtles that you intend to eat later when you're down in New Orleans. We've also got blades and beanies and things like that. Lots of meme stuff available. And finally, jamandbean.com. That is JAMNbean.com. Clank Coffee, my official coffee. This is the sniffy bag. This is the one that you don't drink because you just want to squish it up and then sniff it once in a while. I don't know. It's good stuff anyway. Nice and smooth and mild. I happen to love it. And I need a lot of caffeine, so it's really helpful. They've also got all sorts of herbal teas available. Those are great too. What do fuck? The biltong beef is yummy. Yes, the Angus is great too. I have a feeling there's some nutmeg in it. It tastes like there's a hint of nutmeg in the Angus. I appreciate that, by the way. I happen to be part of the pro-nutmeg movement. I'm sure that Townsend's, he'll be tuning in anytime. Copium Poppies. I think a Daniel Penny self-defense channel could be lucrative. I mean, he's literally on trial because his self-defense skills were so effective. Yeah, I mean, the trial is a farce. It's a pile of bullshit. The fact that they haven't returned a verdict yet points to the fact that they're deliberating, though, in my opinion, over their options. And they're saying, look, if we find him guilty, it's a miscarriage of justice. If we find him not guilty, there might be riots. We would like to be able to go home and the homes aren't in flames. So they're probably bickering over whether to do the lesser included more than anything else. I think they lean towards exoneration at this point, but they're saying, well, maybe, he was being reckless at the time. He chokeholded him for too long. And so we give him basically a fining offense with minor jail time. It gets appealed. In the end, he probably just pays some money and goes. Roboguy75, what are your thoughts on Fauci's research partner threatening to release viruses on January 21st? Another pandemic attempt, perhaps. Flat out terrorism, though. Why didn't they try that on election day? DM me details on that. I haven't seen that particular story. I doubt that there will be another pandemic, but I can't talk too much about that on YouTube because, of course, my medical disinformation policy. How dare you question whatever, the WHO says, Felix Fanboy Rico, Daddy, I like Shiba Inu and hold a bunch, kissy face. Nice. Yeah, I hold several cryptos. I rolled most of it over into Bitcoin some time ago, which was probably a wise decision. I have some Doge and a few others. But the problem is I can't check my wallet right now. I have to restart my computer or use the other one in order to do that. Yes, indeed, we are on Daniel Penny trial watch. We're not sure if we're going to get a verdict today. Some sites are reporting that they expect that there to be a hung jury. I think that they will reach a verdict. I think that they're spending their time right now, again, bickering over whether to simply exonerate him or to give him the lesser included. I think the idea is that there may be some hesitance within the jury to find him fully not guilty because they're afraid that Wendy's will burn down. And so you say, well, you know, maybe I don't want to convict him on manslaughter because he's clearly not guilty of manslaughter. The evidence isn't there. So I can't convict him on that. But there's this lesser included charge that's been stacked with the manslaughter one. And this is, you know, a much lower offense. So you punish the dude a little, so he gets found guilty, and your home doesn't get burned down by an angry mob. But at the same time, you know, you really haven't terribly punished the dude. I have a feeling that's what they lean towards. I think that most of the jurors probably want to exonerate completely. There might be a couple of holdouts. That's the other thing. It's hard to tell. We don't exactly know who the jurors are, of course. It could be that one person is the only one in the room that wants to find him guilty and is, you know, crossing their arms right now and saying, no, I won't vote to exonerate. Or it could be that there's one person in the room who wants to find him not guilty. No, I refuse to find the dude guilty because I don't think he's guilty. Either of these could be the scenario. It's probably more of a mixed bag. I think that there's a little bit more nuance there, actually. So we're waiting to see if we get a verdict today. It's entirely possible, but it's not certain. We'll see what happens. I see that Anton is there. We stream Fridays and Sundays, 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Central, every week, says King of Biltong. Yes, indeed. Eat more Biltong. What do fuck? Ugh, 2 kindergartners in critical condition after gunman opens fire at Christian school in California. Yeah, that happens sometime. Depending on what firearm was used, they'll either blame the race, the political affiliation, or the weapon. This is very formulaic. Wasted. Good morning from the grave. Good morning from the grave. Good morning from the grave. I'm not going to read out all the good mornings from the grave. Felix Fanboy Rico, did you see Biden falling asleep in Africa? Funny. He got sleeping sickness? No, really? Biden falls asleep at random points at this time on a regular basis. He's done this before. And God, I can understand when you have, you know, a fairly rugged schedule occasionally, you know, you get tired and shit like that. But with Biden, it's more he's just geriatric. Look at Jimmy Carter, you know, it's a news story when he actually is awake at this point. The Syrian army has withdrawn from Hama as opposition forces enter the key city. The army has sort of redeployed and formed a firewall. Opposition commander Hassan Abdul Ghani posted on social media earlier on Thursday that his fighters had begun entering Hama, which they had been laying siege to since Tuesday amid heavy fighting overnight with the Syrian army, which was backed by intense Russian air attacks. By the way, I think in the end, the Russians are probably capable of helping their Syrian allies. Al Jazeera's Rasul Serdar said the taking of Hama was a major development. No shit. In just over a week, they've managed to take full control of Syria's second largest city, Aleppo, and now the fourth largest city, Serdar said, reporting from the Turkish city of Kilis on the border with Syria. Opposition fighters pushed south from their enclave in northwest Syria, seizing Aleppo last week before reaching a strategic hill just north of Hama on Tuesday and advancing towards the city's east and west flanks. So if you look at a map right now, they've got an updated one. Assad still controls Damascus. He still controls Homs and the bulk of the country. But the problem is you've got several different rebel groups. And by the way, this could be a disaster. And I'm hoping it doesn't happen for the sake of the people living there, especially certain ethnic minorities that are hazarded by some of these rebels. Here's the problem. The government is sort of, you know, a monolith in Syria. It's led by Assad. It's a strong-arm authoritarian sort of regime. It's not necessarily, Assad's not necessarily a nice dude, but it holds order together. The problem is that you have a bunch of other different rebel forces, and should they overrun the government, you know what's going to happen next. They are going to slaughter one another. ISIS, the FSA, Kurdish-backed militias, non-Kurdish-backed but still ethnic militias, tribal warlords. We see this in Libya literally right now. Syria would turn into a miniature version of Libya, effectively. This is not good for literally anybody within the region. I suppose if you're sane at the moment, you're oddly rooting for Bashar al-Assad. I don't say that lightly because I'm no fan of his. He's an authoritarian. His regime is engaged in censorship and military police and Gestapo activity and all this sort of shit that you get with authoritarian regimes. But the alternative is worse. None of the opposition forces represent what we would recognize as like a democratic movement or anything like that. Everyone's talking about Jimmy Carter. Yeah, Jimmy Carter looks like he's already died, basically. I'm still convinced that he's going to remain in his lich state until the last guinea worm is destroyed. Like, they're going to put it in a bottle and like airmail it to Jimmy Carter. And there's going to be a live stream of Jimmy Carter cutting its head off, and then he'll just aspirate on his own vomit or something like that. What do you think the Syria thing is the CIA driving a weed up Putin's butt and giving him something else to consider other than Ukraine? No, not in this particular instance. I don't think so. Wasted Bonehead said boner over and over again. Boners and shit. These are becoming staples of the channel. We're very mature here in Clankdom. We are all very mature adults. Yeah, I mean, if Assad is fucked in the ass and dragged through the streets and, bayoneted in the ass like Gaddafi, every Christian in Syria is going to get slaughtered. The Christians will die. The Yazidi will die. Certainly the Alawite, which is a minority. I mean, Assad is an Alawite. He's not a Shia or a Sunni. They'll die. You'll see millions slaughtered. And the country will collapse. There won't be any industry. There'll probably end up being like a 70% unemployment rate or something. Other than human trafficking and things like that. Yazidi kids, only $100. I'm sure that the Epsteiners will really appreciate that. King of Biltong, we stream every Friday and Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Central, shit talking while cooking real food. Follow our channel, Eat at Anton's, and join us in the cooking fun and chats. Sounds like some good stuff, as long as biltong is added. Definitely, one thing you should definitely, anyone out there who's bought Anton's biltong, which you definitely should, if you take the shredded biltong and you cook it into a soup, like a noodle soup, especially like the real like Japanese good shit, especially with the spicy biltong that's sliced, it comes out really, really well, yeah. Just cook in some Chinese cabbage, and I like red peppers in it myself, the sweet ones. And then you put some biltong in, and you just sort of cook it together, and it comes out. Yeah, it's amazing, actually. King of Biltong, looking for some healthy, high-protein stocking stuffers this season? Get yours at biltongusa.com. We will ship biltong to your loved ones door to door. Get a 10% discount with code STICKS10. Yeah, I had that once. It had some. Well, actually, that one didn't have the Chinese cabbage. It had scallions. I would recommend Chinese cabbage though, because that's delicious when it's cooked with a nice broth. And it was just a plain noodle soup with scallions and some red pepper, and then the biltong, and it was friggin' delicious. Wasted Bonehead, oh great clank wizard, I look and I sit. I bought your book to read while I shit. Taco Woman Sandy Ravage, what can be done about the Senate neocons blocking Trump's nominees? Nothing, unfortunately. There's no way to compel the Senate. So some of them will not be confirmed. I expect there will be a tit for tat behind closed doors. Albin Jansen, I love a good Swiss melted Swiss cheese and roasted mushrooms, caramelized onions on a burger. Oh, that is hot stuff. You can get that at a number of different places. Had it, actually. Yeah, it is delicious. Caramelized onions do go on burger, by the way. Not a bad account. Money isn't going to Ukraine. It goes to industry. Yeah, everyone wants some biltong. Extending tax cuts tops the GOP's agenda for the first 100 days. Americans don't care if Elon Musk is rich. It's just a little bit of a quip. I happen to agree with the sentiment. This is good. I think that Trump's agenda, the first thing he should do is pardon the J6ers and shit like that. Stuff that can be done immediately. It can be prepared for before he even enters office. The paperwork can all be done. Get a couple people on it, and I'm sure he's probably already doing this. So basically, within the first week, you have a series of things that are done very, very quickly. After that, though, you got to get down to brass tacks. Thankfully, the House Republicans, while they will obstruct elements of Trump's agenda, this is a guarantee. They have already done it before. Most of them are still in their positions. We already know what's going to happen. This is one thing they probably won't try to obstruct. So Trump has 3 victories. I've analyzed this before. He has 3 victories effectively immediately, beyond the pardons that he can issue. That'll be an optical victory for his core fans. That'll be almost a kickback to MAGA. Diplomacy. He does not need permission to travel to a foreign nation and meet with foreign leaders. And so he can wag the military dick around, speak softly, carry a big stick, and then remind him how big the stick is and all of that stuff. Another one is the border, because he's already been cleared by a federal court to use discretionary spending. So unless the congressional Republicans go so batshit that they're willing to try to get it before a Supreme Court with 3 justices appointed by Trump, they will lose. So they're not going to try to obstruct that because they can't. And the third is tax relief. The odds that there are enough congressional Republicans to try to block continuing tax relief, especially during an economic crisis that helped them win the election, generally speaking, I don't think even the Republicans can't possibly be that stupid. Please, can somebody please reassure me that I'm right, that even they can't be that fucking retarded? I mean, they are Republicans, so they have a tendency to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. But on taxes, that's the one thing that they're generally consistent on. So I'm hoping that Trump not only extends the tax credits, the tax reforms, expand the child tax credit, and then at least option the concept of lowering or eliminating the income tax. The last one is the most difficult. Some Republicans might balk at that. Oh my God, you're going to pay for the economy entirely through tariffs, and then they'll put up graphs and stuff about why it won't work. It can work, actually. There was a long time in the U.S. history when we didn't really have an income tax, and we seem to exist. Believe it or not, we were capable of creating roads and shit like that. Alamandorius, hey Sticks, was in a spot for days with shit internet, so think maybe Trump watches your stream, considering before I went up in a few weeks ago, I asked if the U.S. could annex Canada. Trump, the clanker. It's possible. I mean, there was one time during the last election when Trump's official page on Twitter, before it was banned, actually shared out one of my videos. Oddly enough, it was the Daily Motion version. That was unfortunate because Daily Motion is now a dead platform. But yeah, it's possible. I guarantee at least somebody in the Trump administration is aware of my channel. And I try to give good help to it because I support the administration. I will criticize it if it does something wrong, but at the moment it's not doing anything wrong. What the fuck? The Middle East is what P.J. O'Rourke called God's monkey house, flinging their duty at each other. That's most of the world, though, admittedly. Copium poppies. It is now being reported that the North Pole elf mass graves are far bigger than initially thought. A chemical weapons laboratory was found nearby where peppermint-scented Zyklon B was being produced. This is going to turn into a weird fanfic, but dude. Felix Fanboy Rico, does it take 2 hands or 1 for my brain rot? I don't know what you're referring to. I think that might be a dick reference, so no comment. Lucian Hex, wish I could make you lasagna. I like lasagna. I tried making lasagna once and the flavor was superb, but it didn't look right. Like for some reason, it just looked a little flat and weird. I don't know exactly what I did wrong. I'm very good at making a good pasta sauce, though. I try to make my own sauce for pizzas, although I will say that the Rutland Domino's is pretty on point. Not quite herby enough. I like a lot of herbs in my sauce. So yeah, the Republicans, hopefully they're going to extend the tax cuts and then expand the tax cuts. If that happens, that will be a major victory. And finally, in science news of the day, Voyager 1 overcomes its latest challenge to keep operating more than 15 billion miles away. Yes, Voyager 1 that was launched many, many decades ago. I think this is, what was it, 77? Yeah, it was 1977. The probe is slowly losing its ability to generate enough power to keep working, but they managed to effectively reboot it. Unfortunately, it's only a matter of time before it stops working altogether. We should be launching more probes. We could launch thousands of them if we wanted. Just look at what SpaceX is capable of at the moment. It's not that difficult. Just fire them off in random directions. And with instructions on how to get to Earth, preferably, so that eventually we have an alien invasion. I'm just joking. I don't think any race capable of that would be interested in being near our planet, actually. If they observed us at all, they'd probably avoid it like the plague. If they're capable of sensing all of the pollen and pathogens in our atmosphere, as well as the fact that it's highly oxidizing, yeah, they probably wouldn't want to come near it. I don't think we'll be getting any visitors anytime soon. But it would be fun to send out probes. Maybe one of them lands on a planet where there are like life forms that are sort of like hominids or something. And then they find the probe and it inspires them to, civilization or something. It'd be funny. Playing God can be fun. Just for shits and giggles, Wasted bonehead. Have you tried making pizza with biltong yet? If not, I'll give you $10 to do it. Oh, you don't need to pay me to do that. That would be delicious. Yeah, with the cabanassi, if you cut that up really small, it would be sort of like a better version of a sausage pizza, I think. Yeah, the cabanassi, I think I would use that. I mean, that's one of my favorites. Cabanassi, bison, that would work. Yeah, all of them, basically. Sigil, Voyager probes do have instructions on how to find Earth on them. Interesting shit. Look it up. I know, but we should fire off thousands more of them. Just fire them off in random directions. They don't need guidance or anything like that. Just basically fire them off and let them go. SC Woods, Biltong Pizza. Here's my $10. Well, I mean, again, you didn't have to pay me to make biltong pizza. Holy shit. I'll just get a crust. I'll make my own sauce. You can use any cheese that you want. What I tend to do, here's how I make a pizza. I do not know how to make a pizza crust, so that would be pre-prepared. Take the crust, then you make your sauce, and the sauce should be, you can make it meaty. I typically make it vegetarian. I like to put a little bit of zucchini chopped up fine in it, by the way. Lots and lots of oregano and basil. A little sprinkle of sage, actually, just to bolden the flavor, and garlic and onion and all this stuff. You make your sauce. I don't make it fully homogenized. I make it slightly rustic, but it's got to be sort of the perfect blend. It's got to be mainly smooth. Then you put that on the crust. Now you add your cheese. Basic cheddar is perfectly fine, or one of those like pizza cheese mixes, like the shredded shit. You put that down first, put your toppings on, and then I usually add a sprinkling of mozzarella on top as well. I prefer mushroom pizza over everything else. Yes, bay leaf is perfectly fine. By the way, if you don't have time to slow brew it with a bay leaf in a little thing, you can always use, what the fuck is it called? Sumac. You can always use sumac. It's got a similar sort of earthy flavor. But yeah, you don't have to pay me to make biltong pizza. Wasted. On camera, lol. Show us how it's done, Clank Wizard. Sigil. Fire off thousands of probes with guides to Earth and a nuke that goes off after the guide is removed. Got to manage expectations and let the aliens know what they're in for. If they have the technology to know what's going on in this planet already, I'm sure that they are acutely aware that we are an extremely violent species. Yeah, another thing that I add to like pastas and shit, and definitely to chili, paprika, and some people don't. So yeah, I mean, I can, yeah, I'll eat a homemade pizza. I mean, I don't know if I have the recording capability to record myself making it. I can try. You got to understand, I'm a little bit low tech in my setup at times. I can put it on my phone and transfer it over. I'll figure it out. Mike the Wop, clank motherfuckers. That's all I got. Yeah, no, I do make a very good pasta sauce. There are some foods I cook better than others. Like the first time I made meatloaf, I nailed it, but the second time it was too dense. I don't know exactly why. I did something wrong in the mix, I think, and I make good soups. One of my specialties, homemade tomato basil with grilled cheese, and I make it caprese style. So it's got like tomato. You need to deseed it before or else it'll waterlog it. Fresh basil, chiffonade of basil goes in the soup, by the way, just for decor. You can literally never get enough basil. Wasted. Fun fact, a probe was fired off with a zombie virus on it. Got to infect a whole ass planet with my autism. Yeah, fire off probes with all sorts of interesting shit on them, preferably things that'll last for like the next 1,000 years, because that's how long it'll take them to get to the next star system. Madlix, where is Stick's cooking stream? I would if I had a proper setup. I don't currently have a proper setup, like a kitchen that I could really put camera shit in and actually do that. But I would, yeah, I would be willing to do like cooking stuff. I like cooking. Yeah. Lemon curd. I cannot eat walnuts. I am allergic to tree nuts. I found this out several years ago when I had one of my favorite salads. It was this great salad that they have at the Jumbo. I think they swapped out the apple for pear now, sadly, which is, you know, big downgrade. There's this salad that they had at the Jumbo. It was pre-prepared, and it came with like a raspberry vinaigrette, which was delicious, and, you know, croutons. And it had this mix that had like pine nuts and roasted tomatoes and stuff in it, but it also had some crushed walnuts and apple, obviously. And so you mix it together and then you eat it. And I ate this, you know, 3 or 4 times a week, actually. It was usually my lunch or you know, my dinner, as I call it, because I usually eat a late lunch due to my schedule. And then one time I ate it and my tongue got all swollen and I just felt weird. And I'm like, it can't be the raspberry. I know that I'm not allergic to that. It can't be vinegar, because I don't even think you can be allergic to vinegar. I know I'm not allergic to greens. I know I'm not allergic to apples. Well, that only leaves one responsible party, so it turns out I can't eat tree nuts. And I don't really miss them. The only one that I kind of miss is almonds. I just don't dare to try any of the others because one of my uncles actually has a tree nut allergy. Thankfully, peanuts are in a different league, and I can still eat those. That would be one that I would miss. I would miss my peanut butter. Sigil Stone, I'm working on launching a probe full of German porn. There'll be some real confused aliens. Yeah, why don't we waste a little bit of time just firing probes off in random directions? Don't even bother with calculating or anything like that. Just make sure that it's not going to go into the sun or smash into the side of Jupiter, and you're pretty much good to go. Copium Poppies. I tried biltong on pizza. It wasn't homemade, though, just a Red Baron Supreme. That's actually pretty good. With chopped up summer sausage. It's a specific brand. I tried different brands, and it didn't taste right. Extra pepperoni, peri-peri biltong added. Yeah. Red Baron is all right. They've got some brand of, like, microwavable fucking pizzas in the Netherlands that I really, really liked. Of course, I would always put extra sauce and cheese on them. But at 10, the only thing that I want pre-made is the crust. Taco Woman, Sandy Ravage, Stephen from Not Another Cooking Show mixes a can of V8 in his meatloaf, and it was delicious. Keeps it moist. That sounds like a good fucking idea. I'm assuming I've actually used V8 before. What did I put it in? I think I was making tomato basil, actually, and I added some V8 to it. And I remember it was delicious, actually. V8 is perfect. I mean, it is literally like drinking tomato soup anyway, so, you know. Norman, by the way, please send no more super chats. I'll read a couple of chats here, and then I'm going to wrap it up. Norman Legend, are you going to put on 400 pounds, Sticks? No. A lot of the foods that I cook tend to be like vegetarian and fairly low calorie. Like I like to make a lot of Indian foods, a lot of veggie soups and stuff. My garden veggie, I guarantee everyone would like it. Even if you're a carnivorian, you'd probably like it. And by the way, my dad makes exquisite soups too. Like there's a turkey vegetable soup out there from, you know, the leftover turkey, and really great. And the first time that I made a chicken soup, it tasted almost exactly like his, and I was very proud of myself. Copium poppies. We need to send probes to Hoth. We need to find the rebel base after building a fleet of Star Destroyers. I agree with that too. Felix Fanboy Rico. Don't tell me what to do, daddy. Take another. Jesus. You getting gay on me, dude? Yeah. Put apples on your pizza. I've seen people do that, actually, to Yeeter Theater. It sounds good, actually. I think that fruit and pizza mix really well together, actually. Like, I like pineapple pizza. Yeah, that'd be fine. Figure out some other weird fruits. What would be the weirdest one to put on? Probably like a star fruit or a pomegranate or something like that. That may not work. I don't know if pomegranate would go well on it. But it's got like that sweet but savory texture, and so fruit sort of goes with that sort of shit. Yeah, apple on pizza is fine. I'll cook my tomato sauce with V8 added, and then I'll dedicate it to the quartering. in commemoration of the fact that I got him to have something that had a lot of vegetables in it. I can't understand people that hate V8, and there are some of you out there. How can you dislike V8? It's literally perfect. There's no way to improve it. I mean, the recipe has been the same, I think, for the last century or thereabouts. There's a reason for that. Man, I used to chug that shit as a kid. Kiwi fruit on pizza, says Roland Author. I'll try it, yeah. Strawberry pizza, says Damon Walker. Yeah, strawberry pizza would be fine. Pretty much any fruit. Not persimmons, because I just hate persimmons. And I don't think like guava probably wouldn't go well on it. Wasted. Make a peanut butter ketchup pizza with candy corn as the toppings. No, there's no more candy corn. I'm sorry. I will eat weird shit all of the time, whether paid or not in some cases, but I am not trying candy corn again in my life. I don't like to puke up randomly. No, thank you. Nope, not happening. Copium poppies, fentanyl on pizza. I'm sure there are some people who've done that. Sprinkle ice, man. Let's put that crack on there. Shit. Yeah, no peeps, no more sweets, basically. If you want me to eat random, weird-ish ethnic stuff, that's perfectly fine. And I'll eat spicy things at least up to a point. Like, I'm not sure that I want to actually do the one-chip challenge because there have been people that have had literal health complications from that. So I'm not sure that that's a great idea. There's probably a reason they were discontinued. Yeah, I'll eat weird shit. No more candy, though. No more sweets. If it's like fruity, like I'll put fucking cantaloupe on the goddamn pizza. It's probably delicious once it's roasted in. Sigil, eat weird shit, you say. Oh, God. Yeah, based acid fox. I'm going to have to drone drop a durian on you. Look out. I would love to try durian. Maybe not on a pizza, but I would definitely try it. I don't think it's legal to import to the United States, sadly. I have seen kiwi on pizza. I'm trying to figure, you know how some people can play instruments by ear? I can sort of guesstimate what something's going to taste like simply by thinking of the ingredients. I think this is why I inherited the cooking gene. I don't really use recipes. I tend to modify them randomly. Kiwi on pizza, I think, would probably be good, though. It might not be excellent, but it would probably be good. You'd have to thin slice it because otherwise you're going to waterlog the pizza, I think. Unless you have other like dry ingredients in there, like fucking breadcrumbs or something. You just pat it off. I know I like pineapple in pizza. Pesto is good, although I think it's often made with walnuts. So again, I'm not sure that I can eat every brand of pesto. I tend to be very good at cooking. I like my cream of mushroom. I'm not so good at photographing the food, though. People always bitch that looks like dog shit. It looks terrible. Trust me, I'm not about presentation. I realize that that's definitely part of, the world of cuisine. But if I'm just making like a random fucking video or a couple of pictures, I'm not going to take the time to sit there and pretend that my plate as a bowl is literally like an art piece. I'm just going to shovel it down. Pine nuts are fine. If those would go good on pizza. Yeah, I thought that durian was banned in the United States. I know it's banned from shipping from place to place in a lot of countries, including where it's grown. Because apparently it smells absolutely horrendous and tastes kind of like the smell of gym socks or something like that. At least that's what I've heard. Personally, I'd try it. Charismal, tagine on pizza. Oh, tagine. Yeah, I could do that. Coffee Slayer, goodbye, Sticks. I thoroughly enjoyed today's live stream, my dude. Goodbye to you as well, my friend. Yeah, I'll try pretty much anything. If I'm willing to try a candy corn peanut butter ketchup sandwich, do you really doubt my dedication? Sure, I couldn't eat the whole thing and puked up afterwards, but that's where the limit is. Mike the Wop, I thought pine nuts were used in pesto, not walnuts. Oh, you may be, yeah, I'm thinking of the wrong kind of nut. Pine nuts I can still eat, which is good because they are delicious. They're best in a salad, though. Anyways, I'm going to go offline. I've got some other news crawling to do and a little bit of cleaning to do, actually, at the moment. I'm trying to clean out the room a little bit and make it, slightly more presentable. But no more candy corn. I will never eat it again in my entire life. So take care. I will be back tomorrow. Sans the candy corn. That's about all. Peace out.